Why is he wearing a Deadpool shirt? What does this mean? Does that mean that Deadpool's in the Multiverse of Madness? I'm not telling you. Seriously, I just picked it out. Don't look too much into it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and back to Geek Month. Today, our movie in the middle is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness follows the titular character as he tries to save Miss America, a young woman with the ability to move through universes, from a demon trying to steal her power. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Benedict Wong, and Xochitl Gomez. So obviously, if you have been following the MCU through Phase 4, you know that this is sort of the culmination of all of the multiverse stuff, all of the variant stuff, everything from the TV shows and the movies that are really about otherworldly things, and honestly, just all of the weirdness of Phase 4. And I found it really funny that everybody and their mother was hyped out of their mind about No Way Home. And this one, Doctor Strange 2, was supposed to feel even bigger, even weirder, and like nobody was talking about it. Starting off with the highs, it is obviously very fun. This is one of the most fun movies we've had in a while because it just has so many things in it. There are a lot of cheer moments. You know, we've had a lot of those recently with Infinity War and Endgame, and then obviously with No Way Home. It's just one of those MCU movies that's here just to cheer for every single scene, or just about all of the scenes. It's not as much as No Way Home or Endgame or Infinity War, but it still has a lot of those moments, which makes it very fun. And besides that, just the concepts and everything that go on are just really cool. Again, this is about the multiverse, and it was supposed to be very weird. And even from the trailer we saw, there's going to be a lot of weird stuff in this. And there is a lot of weird stuff. But it's fun. Specifically, the actual multiverse stuff. There's a scene where Doctor Strange goes through, I think, like 12 multiverses within like 10 seconds or something. And it's cool. It is really interesting. I wanted to see them explore that actually a little bit more, and hopefully we will get to later in the MCU in one of the shows or the movies, but it was a really cool scene. Like, remember in the first Doctor Strange, how he had that whole scene of, like, being shown everything that was possible from the Ancient One, and it's kind of like an assault on the senses? This was like that. It wasn't as trippy, but it was a really cool concept. This is also directed by Sam Raimi, who did the first 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, so it was really, really cool to see him come back to Marvel, specifically in the MCU this time, and put his little touches, you know, of horror and superhero movies in Doctor Strange. The MCU movies, while all of them are superhero movies, they do follow, each of them have like different subgenres, you know, like they've had Spider-Man being like coming of age, sort of teen. You have Thor, which is more the fantasy, things like that. And this one is their very first horror subgenre, which was perfect because Sam Raimi has done The Evil Dead and a bunch of other horror movies. Now, I will say I actually haven't seen any of Sam Raimi's horror movies, but I have seen the first 3 Spider-Man movies, and you can feel the heart that Sam Raimi brings to the superhero and to the person that the superhero is. You can feel that in here. Plus, there are some other Raimi-isms that happen in this movie that, even without having seen his horror movies, I understood them, and they were very cool. Specifically, one that's sort of a little bit of a gag throughout the movie. Finally, I did like how it did tie into the MCU shows. This is going to be a middle element, not for me, but probably for a lot of people watching, because I know there's a lot of people who, if you've seen Doctor Strange or you're going to watch Doctor Strange 2, you are probably watching all of the movies up till this point. But the TV shows is where a lot of people get divided because it's like, oh, that's too much now. And, you know, I kind of agree. For the most part, I think they're going to be having done too much by the end of this year. But there are 2 that you're going to want to watch if you're going to watch Multiverse of Madness. The first one is WandaVision, obviously, because Wanda is in this, and it picks up from some things there. The other one is What If, but the thing is, I don't think you actually have to watch all the episodes. You really only have to watch, I believe it's episodes 4 and 5, the Doctor Strange episode and the Zombies episode. I would definitely watch those going in as well, just for context. But I thought that it was really cool how they tied it in because it legitimizes the shows and it just makes it all feel very consistent. I do have one middle element, however, and that is that there's something that happens right towards the very beginning that basically affects the rest of the movie, and it does make sense. It is something that I'm like, yeah, I can see how you'll go this way with it, but I didn't love it. It does make for some very big tension and some like really great moments, but I don't know. Again, I cannot even begin to talk about it because it's a spoiler, but it's not my favorite thing for a couple reasons. That's all I can really say. So for the lows, I think the biggest one is that this movie feels oddly very inconsequential. It's funny because for being probably one of the biggest stakes movies, it just doesn't feel like much happens that really lasts. There are basically two things that happen by the end of this movie that have bigger consequences or meaning for future movies or characters. And other than that, it really feels like this was just kind of an extended episode of one of the shows because it just kind of feels like things happen really quick and then it's over and it's safe and it's good. Even though we got into some weird territories, it's like it all wrapped up and that's fine. But I don't know. It's weird because things do happen. A lot of things do happen, but afterward, I just felt like it didn't feel like it. I don't. It's hard to explain. I think maybe this is for a couple of reasons. One is that it does feel kind of short. It was supposed to be like 2.5, 3 hours, and then it got cut down to 2 hours, which honestly, I think the pacing was fine. It's really cool because it does like just get right into it. Like it's fun and funny right from the beginning and then just goes. So it is very Infinity War in that way. It doesn't stall or anything, which is great. But it does at points feel like, okay, you could have extended this a little bit more, done more with this. Specifically, it's called the Multiverse of Madness, and not to sound like it's disappointing, but he's only in two other universes for more than a couple seconds. Basically, he's in one other universe for most of the movie, and then towards the end, he goes to a third universe besides the one he was in his own. And it was cool, but I just thought we were going to get into like so many worlds, not just get peeks at a lot of them, and then only stay in like 1 to 1.5 for most of it. Now, I will say, this movie was put on a huge pedestal because while not a lot of people were talking about it, when they did talk about it, it was like, this character is going to be in it, and this character is going to be in it, and they're going to address this thing from Marvel's past, and all that other stuff. It's weird, because I'm not sure if that's fair on the movie or not, because at this point, they are putting themselves on really high expectations, especially with something like this, and the trailer that we had, and the things that they've been doing. I think it just goes to show what the worst part about Phase 4 has been, which is they're obviously getting to some things, but a lot of it feels like a tease without actually committing to things.
You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
I will say, we do get some really cool characters, and there is a scene where a lot of new people are introduced. Once again, it feels a little inconsequential or not exactly what you're thinking, but I will say that scene was awesome. That was one of the cheer moments for sure. So overall, Doctor Strange is by far not a bad movie or anything. I don't want to put that in your brain that it's like a bad movie. I think it's just a little bit of a letdown. It is one of those, like, while I was watching it, it's very fun. It's got so many cool moments. Don't get me wrong. Definitely go see it. It's got a lot of awesome moments. It's just afterwards, when I was looking back on it, I was a little bit less satisfied the more I thought about it. I don't know what it is. It just feels like a lot happens, but nothing really happens, if that makes sense. I'm going to give Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a 3 out of 4. Obviously, I can't talk about spoilers now, but I think I will be doing a spoiler discussion with Jared Talks Cinema where we can actually get into the details of what I think about all of those things and why I think it was very inconsequential or kind of a tease. Guys, let me know what you thought of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Please try to avoid spoilers in the comments if you can. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.